You may see a future with him, but it may not be the future that you actually want or the future that is going to serve your highest good. I had a call with a client today, and these words came out of her mouth, is that she saw a future with this guy, but she realized that this is not the future that she wanted. And just rewind, this is a client I've been working with for 2 cycles of coaching now, successful, intelligent, found me in the midst of a really deep heartbreak and realizing that something needed to change within her in terms of how she was relating and how she was relating to herself and also the types of relationships she was creating. And through the deep work that she did and through her own commitment and devotion to self, she ended up meeting some individuals, some likely suitors. And one of them in particular felt familiar, and she saw a future with him, and she was really attracted to him. And she was able to actually sidestep outside of that pattern because what she realized is that was a pattern from the past. That was the familiar road that she had been down again and again that only led to heartbreak. She was attracted to this guy. He set off all the bells and whistles with her, right? It's kind of that romantic love story. And the guy that she didn't give initial attention to, the one who didn't give her butterflies immediately in her stomach, is the guy that she's actually with now. And I can tell you, having walked next to her now for several months in this new relationship, it is head and shoulders better than the one that she came out of in terms of the communication and the boundary setting and her ability to stay connected to herself. I'm sure it has challenges, but she has stepped outside of the loop that she had been in. She had been able to transcend the loop of being stuck in a place where you're attracting people that ultimately are not good for you, people that treat you the same way, people where you get into these relationships and maybe you know the dance, you know what's going to come next, but it's not good for your nervous system. You end up feeling less than, you end up feeling not good about yourself, you question yourself, you doubt yourself. Can you relate to this? I know I can in my own life, right? Just being stuck in a pattern and wondering, like, what is going on here? Is the universe just providing some type of sick joke? Like, how many times do I have to go through the same pattern before I get the lesson? Is it me? Is it them? Is it life? Is it the dating market out there that, there's no good people? Oftentimes the answer is much more simple. We're the common denominator across all of our relationships. And sometimes we slide into these categories of just believing like, hey, there's no good people out there, or all guys are like this, or all women are like this. And then we get to exonerate ourselves from taking any real responsibility for doing the deeper work on ourselves to actually change the world outside of us. And we just get to stay asleep in the same patterns, and maybe we get bitter, and maybe we settle, and maybe we think, well, this is just relationship. I've got to be in this container with somebody. I got to be in this relationship with somebody that, like, I really don't feel good with the way that they treat me, but I don't think that I can do better, and I don't want to be alone. And then you resign to a life of quiet desperation. I want to say that it doesn't have to be like that. It truly does not have to be like that. And I've seen that this happen time and again with the clients that I work with, that when you become really aware of the ways in which you are unconsciously creating the same pattern again and again in your life, and you start to see the actual power that you hold to do that maybe it's a skill set that you've developed over the years. Maybe it's that, you've got a picker inside of you that is picking something familiar because you know how to do that dance, and therefore it feels safe to your nervous system. And you can start to actually slow down and say, hey, I want something unfamiliar. I'm gonna choose this path that I have not walked down before. And as you do that, maybe it feels really vulnerable. Maybe it sets off some other alarms and bells and whistles in a way that has you feel like, wow, like I'm having to do the deeper work on myself rather than picking partners that have to do the deeper work on them and me judging them. Now suddenly I'm being called to be my best self. Like, that's what actually starts to happen when you transcend these patterns, is you start to pick people, you start to pick men, you start to pick women that call you to operate at a higher level than what you have in the past. They make you better people, and you make them better people as well. So I'm here in this message to tell you that it is possible. I'm seeing it happen in my clients' life. I've seen it happen in my own life, that when we really turn the focus inward and we start to get really curious about the beliefs and the stories that we have about relationship and the stories that we have about ourselves and other people, we start to actually test them and push against them and find the ones that are false, the ones that are keeping us safe, the ones that we picked up from a very long time ago that are ancient, that are still running in the background, that need to be completed and ended, we can truly change our lives. We can not only change our intimate partnerships, but we can change the way that we show up with friends. We can change the way that we show up in the workplace. We can change the way that we show up in all of our relationships, because as we shift what it is to be human with ourselves, we shift our relationship with all humans outside of us. And I know that's a bold claim. And if you can relate to any of the previous stuff that I've been talking about of feeling stuck and in a pattern and like you can't get out of this loop, then I'd love to have a conversation with you. Or at the very least, I'd love you to subscribe to this channel and learn more, because what I'm teaching on this channel is all about self-empowerment and really using relationship and life as a mirror to look inward and to do the deeper work and to start to shift the inner stance so that the world outside of you changes. Subscribe to the channel, leave a comment below, join my mailing list. I'm leaving a link in the description where you can get a guide if you want a quick taster of some of the content that I create that's in written form. And if you'd like to have a conversation with me, I'm opening a couple coaching spots available this month. And I'd love to have a conversation to talk about where you're currently at and what you're struggling with, right? Where are you feeling stuck, right? Where is it that perhaps, you've got these other parts of your life together. Maybe you're successful, you're intelligent, but for whatever reason, this area right here, it's in your blind spot. These are the kind of people that I work with all the time. And it's beautiful work. It's very fulfilling. And I'd love to start by having a conversation if this message rings true.